Sabbath is not just a day. It is an entire domain where the holiness of this day dwells. What is this realm? What is this Tchum Shel Shabbat, the Shabbat space? Where does it dwell, on earth or some other place? We will look straight in the direction in which the Kabbalists turn their gaze into the universe, into creation and beyond. And when we focus, we will see the following scheme. The realm of holiness goes far beyond a single day. And it's not by chance that I placed the 10 Sefirot in the center of a circle. The 10 Sefirot is how the will of the Almighty is implemented in our world, and we will follow His will. It's written, Sheptovitsky. Remember? Look at the top of my screen, where there is a line of words, at Sheptovitsky. Observe my Sabbaths. At Sheptovitsky. Why my Sabbaths? Why are there several of them? Why does it not say observe my Sabbath? Why in plural? How many Sabbaths are there? If it says Sabbaths, I want to know how many. At least 2 of them. How do I know? Because the minimum plural is 2. And then 3, 4, and so on. So at least 2. The muleteer says Sheptovitsky is at least 2 Sabbaths. It's the Sabbath Elyonah and the Sabbath Tachtana, the higher Sabbath and the lower Sabbath. Look at these 2 Sefirot. Can you see them? The higher Sabbath appeared, and then the lower Sabbath followed. How? Let's try to decode what the muleteer says to us. They are together, and one includes the other, and they are hidden. What does he want to say? Sabbath is the 7th day, don't forget. The 7th day. We know that the 7th day is this lower Sephirah, Malchut. How do we know this? 7 lower Sephirot correspond to the 7 days of creation. The highest 3 Sephirot are incomprehensible and unknowable, because they are beyond our understanding. They are beyond our boundaries. They are the part of the infinity and another part of our knowing. We know something about them though, and what is it? We know that the highest and the first Sephirah, Keter, is the moment of transition from the Creator to creation, from infinite to finite. It's already not the Creator, but not yet the creation. It's that very moment which we cannot grasp, where creation begins and the Creator ends. This is the Sephirah Keter. This is the will of the Almighty, the first impulse, at the moment of creation. The second and the third Sephirot are splitting this impulse into 2, the masculine and the feminine. Sephirot Chokhmah and Binah, wisdom and understanding. Let's digress from these names for now. It's their functions that are more important for us. The Sephirah Chokhmah is the information carrier, and Binah is the information reader. If Chokhmah is the seed, carrying in itself absolutely all information, it signifies a day that existed before the creation, the day that includes everything together with the first day of creation. It contains all the information that will be implemented after it enters the mother's womb, when the seed delivers it there, and from this moment on, the birthing will begin. And the first Sephirah, from which all the following days are born, will be this one, the Sephirah Binah. Let's count the 7th day from Binah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As it says in the Torah, Yom HaShvi'i is the seventh day. The seventh day in which the Almighty rested and abstained from all his work. So, if the countdown of days starts from this moment, from Binah, then we find that Sephirah Yesod is the seventh day, and respectively, if Yesod is the seventh day, then the Sephirah Binah is also the seventh day, if we count upwards from Yesod. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Binah is also the seventh day. Thus, we have the higher seventh day if we count upwards, and we have the lower seventh day if we count from the top. Both of them are holy, from which everything is born. All the days of creation are born from Binah, and Yesod passes further on all that will ever exist in our world. But wait, let's not rush. So, Zohar tells us about the creation process before the first day of creation. After all, the Torah begins with the letter Bet. Torah begins with the word Bereshit. The letter Bet is the second letter. What was before the letter Bet? It's the second letter. What was before it? Before it was the idea, the concept. And this idea begins to implement, this concept begins to realize right here in Binah. From Keter, from the Creator's will, the idea emanates and implements only when it merges with the mother's womb. From this moment on, the 7 days of creation appear. Here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Correct. This Sephirah Malchut is also the seventh Sephirah if we count from the first day of creation, from the Sephirah Chesed. Then Malchut will be the seventh. But Binah is not the first day of creation. It's the phase before the first day of creation. It's the moment when the seed delivers the information to Binah and the birth begins. The first day is born, then the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh. But if we count from Binah, the phase before the first day of creation, from the actual idea, then the Sephirah Yesod will be the seventh day. There is some confusion here, isn't there? It turns out that there are two seventh days. Strange thing. Where does Zohar lead us to? Why do we need two seventh days? We have the higher seventh day and the lower seventh day, and we're going to see one more seventh day. Let's sum up what's been said. It's not by chance that I quoted the text of Rabbi Chikatilo, because his book, Sha'arei Orah, the citation from which we have just studied, is the dictionary or the instruction for reading the Zohar. He does not only determine the description and a certain quality to each Sephirah, but also shows us the mechanics of the spirit's movement in the system of the Sephirot, and Zohar relies on it. There can't be just one Sabbath. There is the Sabbath gates, which is our earthly Sabbath, like Sabbath that came yesterday, and we merged with its holiness, and it opened up for us like an open gate. For some it's the gate, for others it's just a day. For a mystic and a Kabbalist, it's the gate, because the Kabbalist goes further. The Kabbalist is not satisfied with an ordinary concept of an ordinary man. An ordinary man limits himself to doing his duties, follows the directions as he was told, and thus completes his aim of obeying the commandments. For a Kabbalist, the technique is only the means. The technique of following the Sabbath rules exists for a Kabbalist only as a means of reaching God. It's not enough for a Kabbalist to just know or just imagine what it can be like. He wants to participate in the action now. The Kabbalist wants to be with God at all times. He desires to be in the maximum presence of God. That's why Sabbath is the greatest opportunity for a Kabbalist. It's the moment when the gates open and he directs all his thoughts and his soul and all his Kabbalistic consciousness towards it, so he can experience the moment of relation in the spirit and enter the corridor in which any encounters are possible, such as the muleteer, the prophet Elijah, the King David, or the King Solomon, anybody. And in this corridor, after he crosses the mountain ridge, one of the symbols of a barrier between the material world and the spiritual world, and after he crosses that barrier, he finds himself in the spiritual world beside the Almighty. He finds himself in the highest possible Sabbath, the 49th degree, which is the highest Sephirah. 7 multiplied by 7 is 49, the border of the 50th degree. And this border is the Sephirah Binah. The one who crosses the border will not be able to come back. He achieves the life in Olam Haba, the world to come. To sum it all up, this is what the Sabbath is for a Kabbalist.